If you've just joined us, our guest in this episode of Question Time is the Minister of Communications, Honorable Adebayo Shittu. Don't go away.
What's your office doing about unsolicited calls and SMS?
Well, you see, we are trying to make a review of it, and they want to say that Nigerians are free to write to my office to make their complaints available, and that they can be sure that they have one person they can trust in this office who would take appropriate action to investigate whatever claims there are. If there are situations of exploitation, we will look at them, and you can be sure that we are here to serve the public interest, and we will do everything that is required to correct anomalies where they are proven to exist.
You are promising that you are going to make your office transparent.
Yes.
What feedback mechanism would you be adopting,
By the
or
grace
would you
of
be
God,
giving out some hotlines?
We will do that at the appropriate time. I've told you that for now, I am barely 1 week in office, and I am, reports, briefings are to commence today, this morning, by the grace of God, by 10 o'clock. And at the end of it, hopefully within the next 1 week, things would have been put in proper perspective.
Now, this cabinet came pretty late now. So how do you intend to hit the ground running?
Well, the greatest difference that I plan to make is, one, I share all the noble virtues of Mr. President. And what are these virtues? The virtue of incorruptibility, the virtue of passion for service, the virtue of accessibility to the public. Any member of the public can walk into this office and demand to see the Minister of Communications, and I will be available particularly on Wednesdays and Fridays.
In terms of corruption or reported cases of corruption now, what plans do you have to sanitize your ministry?
Number one, I don't have any evidence or any report of such up till this moment. But what I intend to do is to live by example, and that's the greatest lesson I want members of the public to believe. I have told all my aides that nobody should make it possible for himself or myself to be compromised. I will not take bribes. I will not, build into whatever contracts, because I have the fear of God, and I believe that with that fear of God, members of the public can be sure that this time around, they will have somebody who is very incorruptible, who also has passion for service.
Now, let's quickly take the South African perspective into this issue, the MTN fine. The South African Parliament has launched a probe into this fine. Are you satisfied with the reaction from the South African government?
You see, the MTN Nigeria Limited is not a South African company. It is a Nigerian company. Whatever they do in South Africa with their probes, is up to them. The officials of MTN, and I must say that I met the board yesterday of MTN. They paid the courtesy call on me. The chairman was there, the vice chairman was there, the managing director and chief executive was here, and the other shareholders were there. They were all, Nigerians. So as far as I'm concerned, MTN will be treated as a purely Nigerian company, which must abide by our laws and regulations, just like any other Nigerian company. Just like any other Nigerian company. When there were violations, we investigated as a government, and we found that there were established cases of violations, up to the tune of about 5 million lines. And MTN did not dispute that they were in violation. So whatever investigation is going on in South Africa is not relevant to us, because MTN Nigeria Limited is a Nigerian company. The shareholders, the chairman, the chief executive, they're all Nigerians, subject to Nigerian laws. They are not subject to South African laws. So to that extent, I don't really see the relevance of whatever they are launching there. You see, Nigerians are shareholders. It is possible that some South Africans are also shareholders. But I'm not aware that South African government is a shareholder in MTN. So to that extent, I think that the issues are very clear.
If push comes to shove, would MTN be shut down?
MTN will never be shut down. It is not in anybody's interest for MTN to be shut down. Remember I said MTN Nigeria Limited is a Nigerian company. Most of the shareholders are Nigerians. Nigerians are employees of the company. And so, I don't see why MTN's case should be different from any other case. Because all Nigerians are under the law supposed to be equal. So whatever is good for the goose is good for the gander. Today it is MTN. Tomorrow, if Glo does a similar thing, God forbid, or if any other Nigerian company does the same thing, I can assure you that the same, things will be done, properly. So, and in any case, it is not even in the interest of MTN to shut down. Remember, maybe I've told you this before, MTN operates in about 22 countries. They make more than 50% of their profit from Nigerian market alone. So I don't see any reasonable investor who want to divest from, the Nigerian market. And in fairness to MTN, they have admitted the violations. They have apologized. They have committed themselves to ensuring that the correct things are done. They have committed themselves to ensuring that it will never repeat itself. And so what follows is how to pay their fine. If proposals are, come as they may have come.
There's a bit of curiosity about the case being shifted to the presidency. Now that you're on board, wouldn't presidency be referring the case to your office?
Are you imagining that I should call for the file? No. No. That question will not be for me. That question should be for the president.
Would the camera there be extended to the MTN's case now? Because you said the MTN's management paid a courtesy visit to your office.
It was just a courtesy call because they know that I will be presiding over, in the industry, from the governmental perspective. And they thought that it was necessary to know me and for me to know them too, because we will have to be doing business together. It was a friendly visit. It was a courtesy visit. And I want to assure you that we never discuss the issue of the, whatever plea they have made. And to the best of my knowledge, they knew that what was important in the visit was to establish a camaraderie type of relationship.
We recently saw a presentation of eNigeria 2015 on screen. Tell us more about this.
eNigeria is Internet Nigeria. You would recall and you would agree with me that in all facets of governance and of human living today, Internet makes things easy. For instance, in payment systems, you need the Internet to make things easier for you to make payments instead of carrying cash or checks around. Even in the industry of telecommunications rely, largely on the Internet, technology. So what the eNigeria project was about is to ensure that all sectors of the Nigerian economy key into this digitalization, program, which is all over the world now, which is taking root. Specifically, the theme of the conference, which held, 2 days in this during the week, is to see how Internet could be used to make the electoral process easier for us. Recall that during the last elections, for the first time, we had card readers and so on, which were used and which made the elections, more acceptable and more transparent and easier, and in fact cost-effective. By the time the results of the elections came, it was difficult for anybody to really complain about lack of transparency and so on. So the e-government, with regards to the electoral process, which was the theme of the conference, is to ensure that we buy into it, we improve our access to the Internet so that things will be easier for Nigerians.
Before I let you go, tell us the communication policy outline for this administration.
We actually have a manifesto on communication policy, and it's a very extensive program. But what is important to say is the most pervasive, if I may use that word, aspect of telecommunication policy is to make sure that telecommunications, penetrates the entire Nigerian country, such that whether in the rural areas or in the cities, telecommunication, programs or telecommunication assets is all over. For instance, we have a policy on rural telephony that no rural area in Nigeria should be left without GSM services.
Honorable Adebayo Shittu, thank you very much for joining us on this episode of Question Time.
Thank you so
very
much.
much.
You are most welcome.
And that's as much as we can take in this edition of Question Time on Channels Television. You may also send us your comments on our different social media platforms showing on your screen. Join us next week on another exciting episode of the program. Many thanks for watching. I'm Benga Ashiru saying goodbye.